Thank you, John. It is such an incredible privilege to be presenting the Catalyst Award on behalf of EY, where we are deeply committed to building a better working world and where I lead our CMO practice. From our experience, I can say the very best marketers are truly driving transformation today across their customer experience, their talent, data and digital, their company's purpose, and so much more, catalyzing the opportunity for growth, for their people, for their customers, and for society. Our winner for the Catalyst category is such a wonderful example of that, bringing together extraordinary commercial and social impact, serving as a dynamic catalyst for growth. Comcast Rise was created to support minority-owned small businesses at the height of the pandemic. And as you'll hear today, it was truly a catalyst. Accepting on behalf of Comcast are Pooja Midha and Teresa Ward-Maupin. As Chief Growth Officer of Comcast Advertising, Pooja leads global marketing and sales development for Comcast Advertising, including Freewheel and Effective. Most recently, she's led an ad tech firm called Truex, and previously she's been at Disney, ABC, Viacom, and Dow Jones. Teresa has over 20 years in the digital, mobile, and telecom industries. She oversees digital, customer communications, and customer experience across Comcast business. Previously, Teresa held executive roles at companies like AT&T, Cricket Wireless, and Prodigy, leading key areas like e-commerce, marketing, and customer experience. Pooja and Teresa, congratulations and welcome. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to speak with you about Comcast Rise. So Teresa, maybe I'll start with you and just go back to the beginning of the program. Why was Comcast Rise originally created? How did the program come about?
Well, thanks, Janet. Before I go there, I'd like to thank ANA. We really are so honored by this award. We also want to thank all the great people at Comcast that support us in some way, as well as some of our partners. So I just want to call out a few, and that's Reagan Yeldell, Katie Green, Lauren Blevins, Delilah Wilson-Scott, Lauren Hudson, and some of our great partners, Eureka, iFund Women, Shea, and EY. But to answer your question, I think to really answer that question on how Comcast Rise was created, we have to go back 2 years and we have to think about what was happening. And at the beginning of the pandemic, businesses were closing all around us. There was so much uncertainty as to whether or not they would reopen. And at the time, everyone was forced to step back and say, in this moment, what are we going to stand for? And for us, it was advancing equity. Small businesses owned by people of color, including Hispanic and Asian Americans, were disproportionately impacted. More extremely were the Black-owned businesses. And this is what led to Comcast Rise and our initial focus. We were very intentional, though, in the naming, because Comcast Rise actually stands for representation, investment, strength, and empowerment. It came about from a desire for us to help communities that were most impacted by the pandemic, but we're trying to recover from it and social unrest. And for this program, we actually focus on 3 areas: monetary grants, technology, and marketing services. When we first started this program, it was focused on Black-owned businesses, and largely because we saw that there was such a disproportionate impact to them. That was what our focus was at the beginning of 2020. We then expanded it to all minority-owned businesses at the beginning of 2021. And I'm really happy to say that at the end of 2021, we expanded it to all women-owned businesses. So I shared a lot. I know you asked, how did this come together? But now I'd like to share a spot that I believe just embodies the essence of this program. So let's play the video.
Are largely in COVID. Small businesses have been almost twice as likely to shutter.
Disproportionately so.
More than half of Black business owners
struggling to obtain federal paycheck protection.
COVID-19 on African Americans.
Somehow we always find a way to rise.
To the blueprint builders, to the backbones of every block, to the late-night legends and the pioneers of legacy, for the curators of the culture, for the family franchise, and for generations to follow. You might fall, but never fail. Keep rising, keep rising, keep rising. Apply today for a variety of business, marketing, and tech makeovers on us to help your rise.
I never get tired of seeing that spot.
Nor do I. So, Teresa, as you were developing the strategy, what were some of the learnings or the obstacles as you were putting this together? Was it tough to get buy-in and get people on board with a program like this?
You know, there were, as you can imagine, something that's this large. We certainly had some of our challenges, but I think the first one was really locking down how do we create meaningful impact beyond just funding. So many businesses were donating funds at the time, as did we, but we really wanted to create a program that was meaningful, that was actionable, and that would allow these businesses to recover, not just in this moment in time, but to build wealth so that they too could give back to their communities for the long haul. We then looked at, well, how do we go about bringing this program to life? And as you can imagine, thinking about marketing technologies, strategies, it really was going to take a lot. So we looked internally at Comcast. We looked at effective advertising, at the marketing consultation, the media, the production capabilities. We then looked at, well, how can we drive cost out of some of these businesses? And the thought of doing that is we provided free products and services from Comcast Business to all of the recipients. And then we partnered with great partners like Eureka to provide an access to community platforms that help these small businesses have access to tools, to coaching, and to mentoring to support them as they were recovering, but also to give them the platform they needed to continue to thrive ongoing. And last, I would say, you know, we had to focus on how do you execute, how do you scale a program of this magnitude essentially overnight and operationalize it quickly. And I will tell you, we started off with 4 people supporting this program, and literally there are more than 300 people supporting it in some way.
So Pooja, I'd love to bring you into the conversation. We're sitting here in March 2022, and I guess at the end of 2021, you were looking at basically the anniversary of the first year of the program. What were the results? And, you know, because there's some real longevity in Comcast Rise at this point. What does it look like today?
There is. And, you know, I'm really proud to be able to say that we have to date positively impacted 8,000 small businesses. And those businesses are all across the country. You know, it's 34 states, almost 600 different cities. And you don't have to be a Comcast customer to be part of the program. You know, any minority or woman-owned business that has a need, you know, is eligible. And, you know, when you look at the types of businesses that we have, you know, that fall into that 8,000, it's a really, really broad spectrum. You know, it's everything from restaurants and retail, your local gym, a daycare center, a professional services firm, you know, hairdressers, you name it. You know, those are the businesses that we've been helping with this program, which has been just incredible. And for all the winners who we do talk to in focus groups and in conversations, the theme we keep hearing consistently is that Comcast Rise was really a lifeline for them, particularly at sort of the depths of the pandemic. You know, it helped them either keep going or it gave them the opportunity to kind of, you know, take their business forward. I'd love to share some videos. There's 2 spots that I would love for us to show everyone here, and they're featuring 2 of our winners, ES Beverage and Hello Chicken. These are the actual owners, just sharing a little bit about their experience. If we can pull up the videos, please.
My name is Sabrina Scott Pappas. I am the Chief Executive Coffee Nerd of ES Beverage. COVID made the commerce atmosphere so tenuous. I have a kid. She motivates me to continue. Comcast put me in a unique space where I could scale on my own. Comcast changed my life, and I was able to keep rising.
My name is Seung-min Lee. I'm a owner of Hello Chicken Korean restaurant. I learned from my mom. Now I want to make her proud. The pandemic hits really hard, and I thought I have to close my restaurant. I just didn't want to disappoint my daughter and my mom. Sorry. When I received the Comcast Rise grant, it gave us time to figure things out. I want my daughter to continue our legacy, to keep rising.
So we're bounded by 30 seconds in those spots, and they're beautiful, and they were created by our agency, Che. But the thing that I would say is that there is just so much more to both of those individual women's stories. They're really inspiring, and that's the thing that's come across in all the conversations we've had. Each one of the entrepreneurs that this program has been there for has a really tremendous story and experience to share. Teresa had mentioned that, we are providing investment, technology, as well as marketing awards to these various businesses. And so the next spot that I wanted to pull up for us to look at, this was actually created by our internal agency, Mnemonic. And it was created for a local business in Philadelphia called Uncle Bobby's Bookshops. And the award was the actual production and concepting of the spot, as well as a media schedule on Effective. Targeting the specific audience segments that they needed in their local area. So let's see if we can pull that video up.
Looking for a place with cool people, dope books, and great coffee? Then stop into Uncle Bobby's Coffee and Books and find carefully curated books representing and uplifting the community. Learn why parents love our children's books and story time. Visit our coffee and espresso bar with delicious lattes, teas, and hot chocolates. Shop our hoodies, t-shirts, candles, and bookmarks from local-owned Black makers. Don't wait. Check out UncleBobbies.com now.
So that's just one example of a spot. We created others, just letting customers know that businesses were open or that they were available for services online. This was really important in the pandemic, particularly because it wasn't so easy to even arrange a shoot as it is, prior to that. But the biggest impact, I think, is that businesses like Uncle Bobby's, they strengthen the communities that they're serving, and being able to play just even the smallest of roles in helping that happen and deepening those relationships and demonstrating the support that we have and that we will be there for those communities is something that I think we are just so incredibly proud of.
Yeah, the authenticity just shines through, and I feel like it embodies the word catalyst, in terms of what you're doing for them, what they're doing for their communities. It's truly beautiful. So I'd love to hear, Pooja, as you think about how this evolves and what happens in the year ahead, what are the plans as you continue to develop this program and support it?
So by the end of this year, as I mentioned, to date, we've already impacted 8,000 businesses. By the end of this year, we project that we will directly impact 13,000 women and minority-owned businesses. And while we're very excited about that number and it sounds great, the need relative to it is massive. And we know this because already Comcast Rise as a program has received 58,000 applications. So there is a lot more of this work for us to do. And I hope that we won't be doing it alone. There's a lot of this work, and I think there's just a big opportunity for companies to get behind this. And we have big plans for this program. So it started with the fact that we, at the end of 2021, made the decision to expand eligibility for the program to all women-owned businesses. And the reasoning there is really clear. The data about how women fared during the pandemic is stark. There is also a rapidly growing number of women who are small business owners. There's already a big number out there, and it is rising at a really high rate, which creates opportunity. At the same time, very similar to people of color, women have historically faced real systemic obstacles and limited access to things like capital and debt-free funding. And at the same time, there is a tremendous opportunity here. So we want to make sure that we're going to be there for them. The other big idea that we have for this year is to really lean into the E in RISE, which stands for empowerment. And the idea also is that as we hopefully return to in-person, we are putting together a concept and some plans to potentially expand this program much more at the local level. So activate and create local events, not only for RISE winners and RISE eligible businesses, but for all small business owners. And to focus those events on things like education, access, inspiration, and recognition, the things that we know that they need. And then the last piece of our plan is to continue to talk to our recipients. We do that through both surveys and focus groups. We spend time with them. The more we can understand their journey, where they see opportunity, where they see challenge, we can help figure out how we strengthen and evolve the program to best meet their needs and to have the very biggest impact.
Teresa, I'd love to close with a question to you, because I'm curious what the impact has been on the people of Comcast, because I can only imagine what it feels like to be in the company for the talent. It's such an important time to work on retention of people. And so I'd be curious, what have been the reflections and the impact on people, or what has it felt like for the people who've worked on this program?
I think this program has brought people together in the most amazing way, both internally to Comcast, but even externally. Most of the resources and the team members working on this initiative, they actually raised their hands and they came to us and asked, how can I help? I want to be a part of driving this change, of making a difference. And for most of the 300 people I mentioned before, it is a labor of love. This is not a part of their day-to-day responsibilities, but it's something they want to be a part of. There is this deep sense of pride for this program that beats pretty much anything I've ever done. And I think everyone in the company is just so proud to work for a large company who's using their resources, getting behind these small businesses in a very meaningful way that will have such a huge impact on everyone. I know I'm clearly very proud of this program. We're spearheading it internally to Comcast, but I'd love for you to hear from another Comcast employee. If we could play the last video.
I come from a family of small business owners. I'm Mexican-American on my mother's side. My grandmother was a seamstress and my mother was an artist. I just know how hard it is and just the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into having a small business. These small businesses are the backbone of the community. If those businesses are gone, you lose the character of a neighborhood. My hope for the Comcast RISE program is that we help these businesses not just to survive, but also to thrive.
So special. Well, Pooja, Teresa, thank you so much for this, and congratulations to both of you, and big congratulations to all the winning communicators that were honored tonight. John, I'd love to send things back to you just for a few more questions.
Sure. I mean, I think what's on most of our minds is Uncle Bobby's, bookshop. When is he expanding to Boston? So folks here at State Street can go visit him. No, that was a terrific ad. I actually might want to follow up on Teresa's last answer that you just gave about the marketing team's involvement. You in particular for Uncle Bobby's, you said that was the internal agency at Comcast that helped build that spot. What are some of the other disciplines that are getting involved, and how do you figure out, and what's the suite of services that the marketing teams are providing to these small businesses?
So Pooja, do you want to take
Sure, I'll be glad to grab that. So we're providing a lot of different things. Creative services is a big piece of it. For a lot of these businesses, they don't have the ability to kind of get out and make sure people understand what they have to offer and what's there. And so that's a big piece of it. We pair the creative services, and they're handled, by an internal agency, with advertising awards. So Effective, which is the media arm of Comcast Advertising, provides a targeted media schedule that is part of the award. So in the case where they have their own spot already produced, we help them put together a smart media schedule that meets their objectives. If they don't, then we will create the spot for them. That is probably one of the biggest disciplines that is behind this. We also work together with our partner Eureka to provide a brand consultation. And that's just helping somebody kind of think through what is their offering, what do they need to do to develop their brand, and how do they develop their brand presence, particularly online. We have a lot of businesses, and during the pandemic, it was even more important, that need help, with even the most basic things like setting up an online storefront, getting their website where it needs to go, and understanding what are the steps that they need to take and how to go about doing that. So having coaching through that. And then for all of our recipients, there is access to a coaching platform and the Eureka Pro platform that provides, lots of different tutorials, trainings, and access to different resources and tools that are specifically designed for a small business owner. So on the advertising side, those I'd say are the kind of the main disciplines. But to activate on that, we're cutting across the entire advertising organization. And on the business services side, Teresa, I'll let you speak to that.
Sure.
So I don't get over my skis on your area.
Sure. And, John, in this case, technology became the forefront of so many things as a part of post the pandemic. Businesses models just kind of got turned on their sides in order to really support their new customers, really requiring them to be online, use digital capabilities. And so one of the great things about the support that we're offering here, in addition to what Pooja said around just helping them understand the tools that are available to them, is giving them the technology to do it. So as a part of the products and services that we are extending to these customers, we also extend support from digital capabilities, from equipment and services that they have to leverage. We continue to see that there's just such a desperate need on how they make sure that they're setting their business up for success and ensuring that as they continue to evolve, they're using technology that will enable them to expand their businesses.
I mean, maybe a quick follow-up for both of you. Like you're both leaders, and for other marketing leaders who might be on the call here tonight who want to know, you noted that it was not necessarily these folks' day jobs. They raised their hands to help out. How do you, as leaders and other leaders around the company, how do you create space for employees to be able to engage in something like this, which I would imagine is not a small amount of time with a variety of different priorities they're trying to juggle?
Well, I'll start. I would say, so here's the beautiful thing about this program. I mentioned before that it's just been so amazing and how it's brought people together. This is one of those programs where we have yet to have to ask anyone to participate this. We've yet to have to ask anyone can they find the time? These folks just raised their hand and they said, we will make the time for this. We're so passionate about what we're doing. This aligns with their own personal values. And so there's been a lot of, there's been just so much passion around that. But what's great is I've never been on another program in my career where you didn't almost have to beg people to join you. This is not one of them. It is the case of people saying, how much help do you need? And let me sign up.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We were at actually a shoot in Philadelphia, and one of my creative leaders was there and was playing a very pivotal role in, everything to do with the concept and the execution around that. And I also knew he was working against like 6 other deadlines on really major projects for different brands and advertising. And I said, how are you doing? Are you okay? I really appreciate you being here for this. And he said, if I don't have time for this, like, what do I have time for? It's like, this is the most important work I do. He's like, with no offense to the other projects at all. He's like, it was so sincere and it was so from his heart. And I think that that's the spirit of this program. We do have people that get involved in really in-depth ways. And obviously we try and make that make sense for them in the scope of their day job. We do have an awareness of that, and we're trying to manage that for them. But we also just get employees involved in smaller ways. For example, we have employees make congratulations calls to the winners so that, they're not just getting a very generic email or phone call. They're actually hearing from a Comcast employee that's welcoming them into the program. And I think it's a really nice moment for both people on that telephone call.
That's great. Well, as an X1 customer, I certainly appreciate seeing the great work that Comcast is doing. So Pooja and Teresa, thank you very much, and congratulations again. Janet, thank you for hosting this great session. It's really been a highlight of the evening to get an understanding of Comcast's RISE program and how you're focusing on diversity, equity, and inclusion, not just within your business, but externally to other businesses. So thank you again and congratulations.